jumping into draft already. It's LEGACi on the blue side up against BTK with second pick. And the bans are already coming in and the targets are already marked. We got a Fredrin ban up against BTK. I mean, there it is. There it is.
This is not something that we have not seen before, Trex. Everyone in North America loves to target ban Zayn, and knowing his hero pool, he definitely shines in this meta once again. The utility style is just back in season. We were able to see a few assassins being slotted in our last NACT, but this time around, it seems like the advantage is towards a lot of the utility focus. But now, LEGACi actually opting to open up a lot of heroes that Zayn is very, very strong. The Akai that he's played and also the Boxia. And now without a ban on the Barats, I do think that is going to be a priority. So maybe LEGACi is going to decide to pick that up themselves, or switching it over to let BTK take it and coming out with some frontline shredders and also some utilities to stop the mobility of that dinosaur.
I mean, there's definitely a lot open. Like you said, the Barats, we've got the Nolan open, we have Vexana still open, Ruby, CC. This is a very open draft. With the Fermis ban and the Fredrin ban, not always your typical round one bans. It leaves a lot open for both teams. BTK thinking about this. They're taking their time, like, oh, like, do we go for trades here? If we're going to go for trades, they go for the CC ban. So yes, does Riles pick up the Nolan here? Like, does he kind of go back to the roots and pick up an assassin pick?
I just feel like the assassin has been quite lackluster, especially in today's matches. The utilities have been dominant. And even in the last series, the utility is still there. The Brass is pretty much unkillable. But the first pick of LEGACi does go to that X-Borg to deal with a lot of the front lines. And Zayn is not even scared of this counter matchup.
Yeah, I love how LEGACi is like, we're going to pick up the X-Borg to counter the Zayn's Barats that we know he's going to pick. And Zayn knows, he's like, fine, you got that. We're going to lock in the Barats. I think Vexana could be a solid pick for pick 2 here. Something with CC, kind of very similar to what we saw DA pick last time. Barats, Vex, Ruby. They could go for the Ruby. Either way, both of them a good combo with the Barats.
Or go for something like the Claude, which has been quite great in a lot of the picks. But yes, Trex, you do get the Vexana on Nicolette, and you know, Nicolette has been a traditional mage that is able to just switch between so many different heroes like the Louis and the Lilia, but this time around it seems like she is immersed into the Vexana, the Nana meta. So pretty excited to see this Vexana coming out to play. We saw Yato have an extremely perfect performance on this Vexana, so I honestly feel like it's a great draft for BTK so far, and I want to see what LEGACi decides to respond to the Vexana and the Barats.
And they have to go for something kind of big, I feel like, here. I think the Ruby might be a steal that they have to. Arlot could be good too. I think they need to deny BTK something, because if BTK gets the Ruby next, it could be a problem. Also, we know Basic, like you mentioned, the Claude earlier, does have a great Claude. So if they pick up a gold lane here, it kind of forces BTK to like, okay, do we go for the Ruby or they take the Claude too? Basic picks up Harith, and BTK feels like they know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, no, I think BTK came into the draft quite prepared. The Harith was pretty much insta-locked right after the Claude and the Nana pick. Now, I do like the strategy coming out from LEGACi, right? They're quite balanced in their draft so far. They have a little bit of magic. They have the marksmans available, so they could choose to focus out, single out. Oh, wait, no, Basic already on the Harith. So both gold laners has been picked, both mages have been picked, so they're really just missing the XP laners and also the roam, and I do think both teams are going to be focusing some bans onto those heroes.
Yeah, something I want to pull out. I feel like the Nana is also another good pick against the Barats. Something that can kind of stop him in his tracks when he's walking forward. You throw out the Molina. It's a good answer to it as long as you can kind of dodge everything else that's coming at you. So they have two ways to kind of deal with some of these neutral objectives. They have the Last Insanity, they have the Kiting from the X-Borg, and now they have the Molina and the Molina Blitz to kind of really help LEGACi in dealing with any kind of aggression that BTK wants to bring into the Turtle Lord pit.
Now, I do want to see what LEGACi's response to this Harith. We saw Toru last game going legendary on this Harith, pretty much unstoppable with a Purify. So this time around, I think LEGACi has to draft up a strategy to deal with the mobility coming out with the Harith. Maybe going for a suppression like the Kaja that you know, T has been shined on. They could also go for a Franco with another suppression, or maybe going for a stun, which BTK has protected by banning out the Ruby. So this time around, LEGACi is going to have a little bit less options, but I do think the draft is still quite open for both teams.
Yeah, definitely a lot of possibilities. LEGACi, not scared to like pick up some things that other teams aren't picking. Ooh, Milo on the Benedetta. So there goes a nice way to get in the back line, a nice way to find the Claude, look for Petrifies, and a nice way to possibly lock down this Nana when needed to, even after the passive procs.
So this is, I just kind of want to slide in this information. Milo, when Benedetta was first came out, right? Milo actually has been the guy that was grinding this hero, especially in the West Coast. And he was definitely top supreme for a very, very long time. So Benedetta on Milo is a very dangerous pick. And just like you're saying, can easily get onto the backside. And picking this matchup means that Milo is quite confident that, hey, I'm seeing this export, I can go even or potentially win onto this lane. I think BTK has it, especially in the XP, for this Benedetta to kind of thrive in this matchup.
I think LEGACi, something like Minnow here could be viable. I think something bulky, Minnow Grok. So wait. Grok jungle? Or is this going to be a Grok Claude jungle? Or yeah, or Grok EXP, Claude jungle, or export jungle. Oh
maybe,
man.
Maybe the Grok
I was gonna say,
I
wanted to. What's crazy is I kind of wanted to see a Grok, but not like this. Not like this.
I do think there's potential that Riles takes this Grok into the jungle. I do think that export in the jungle to deal with the Brats is also quite good, but sacrificing the Flicker means you're not going to be able to really catch Basic off guard. And with the comp that LEGACi has, it's not really focused on stopping Basic. It feels like they want to have a good team fight, but what I'm worried about is who is going to be able to lock Basic down and not let the Xenon Force be able to just jump around the whole entire game. Because quite honestly, Toru had such a good game on Harith that I feel like if teams are not focusing on that hero, it's going to smell a lot of trouble.
Jungle X-Borg. Jungle Borg. I was expecting Cold World to maybe pick up the Diggy there as a final pick, just to be like, you got all that CC, good luck. Jungle Borg, man, we haven't seen that in a long time. And for a long time, like, the theory crafting behind it was always there. And I think it's for the same reason why it's kind of viable now, at least in the XP lane. It can, you know, it does what it does. It does true damage, it kites, it can help deal with the Brats. But how is it going to face up in the jungle? I'm kind of wondering about it, but we will see, because we are jumping into game number 1. BTK versus LEGACi, both suffering a loss from yesterday, looking to reclaim some glory.
Yeah, and will the Kings prevail, or will the upset happen where the LEGACi continues and pushes BTK out of the top bracket? Now, it's quite interesting here now. Both junglers are starting onto the bottom side, so they're going to be looking to clash near... Oh, wait, no. Mobazena is going to be on the top side, jungling opposite towards each other. You do see that LEGACi over here has a little bit of a faster rotation. I do think the Nana just clears a little bit faster.
Yeah, BloodThirstyKings with Cold World on the Rafaela. I'm wondering how they're going to scale. I feel like in the early game, there could be some issues. They do have movement. They do have that advantage. They're going to have some quick rotations, but they are a little bit squishy. The only problem is LEGACi also doesn't have any, like, huge damage dealers. If they picked up something like an assassin in the jungle, maybe they could have taken advantage of that, but instead they go for the X-Borg. So they're also kind of playing the long haul here.
And this is something that I feel like I'm not really liking so far from LEGACi. They decided to pick this Grok up in the very last phase. And Grok isn't really that great of an XP laner so far. Maybe I'm going to eat my words, but he seems to have a disadvantage onto the top side already, going back against Milo during the first wave. And I feel like that kind of smells trouble because Milo is very proficient on this Benedetta. And I don't know if the Grok is going to be able to do too much in this matchup.
I feel like LEGACi's win condition here isn't exactly team fights, right? It's not exactly like winning out in team fights. It's winning out in the big objectives. It's winning out in Lord fights. It's using all this stack CC to try to delay mlbbZane and win out in those fights. Now a little bit of damage on a Cold World. Cold World taking a lot there. Will go down. First blood over Riles.
Yeah, I bit my word there. PDR showing us the Grok on the XP does well. Did push that wall up and pretty much force Cold World into the deathbed. Milo comes through, but it seems like the objective is still up for grabs.
Oh, a lot of damage on KoyaNASH, but there goes the big knockup. Milo goes down. There's a lot of damage from PDR there. They're going to be able to zone BTK away. LEGACi takes first turtle.
Yeah, that's quite a huge turtle for LEGACi. LEGACi already up in gold here, 2-0 along with a turtle. So definitely a lot of advantage so far. Now, the focus is going to be on the bot side here. Jolie still has to find a way to scale well, and we've seen this matchup quite a bit. The Harith has traditionally just dominated in that gold position, and I don't think this is going to be much different here. Basic on this Harith, already a small advantage in the lane, even with 2 kills down and a neutral objective. It seems like BTK is still right behind LEGACi's toes.
Yeah, definitely not too far behind, and that just goes to show BTK's, like, their movement, their laning phase is still strong when it comes to gold, but LEGACi, we're already seeing the possibilities from them, and if this keeps happening, the gold lead will definitely eventually leave BTK. It'll get out of grass, and LEGACi is controlling the map. They're moving around as a unit. They're mid-trio, staying together. They're kind of taking their paths together. Riles is never being left too far behind away from KoyaKen and KoyaNASH.
Yeah, but I still don't like this matchup on the top side.
Ooh, PDR does go down. Milo able to pick up the kill. Down on the bot side, a little bit of action as well as KoyaKen comes in to help out. Jolie gonna try to capitalize on the knockoff of 2 members with Blazing Duet. Gets hit by the Holy Baptism though. Slowed down from the Zmon's force. Riles maybe checking that bush. Careful of a gank.
The Natalia is coming through, but the 4-man siege from LEGACi is going to be able to get some gold onto the bot side tower, pushing BTK away quite a bit, but mlbbZane here.
mlbbZane under the tower, caught up by the wall, should be okay. He's a bulky boy.
Yeah, but 2-1 is going to be the overall scoreboard. Still anyone's game so far, but it seems like BTK, they're quite calm and collective here, but PDR.
Oof. That's a lot of damage on a mlbbZane. He used the Daytona's Welcome to dash away, which I haven't even thought about. It's a great mechanic for... That's something that Barat's kind of lasted before, is he had no real escape. Now that he has that dash, he can almost use it like the Grok's Wild Charge, you know, to escape.
Yeah, and he has a little bit of immune that is built onto that Daytona's Welcoming. It's quite a good change, I think, and you know, it definitely adds the spice into the Barat, giving him a little bit of mobility here.
Ooh, Guardian comes down on KoyaKen. Electro final blow locks on to Nash. Nash taking a little bit of damage. mlbbZane able to stay on top of this turtle for free right now. KoyaKen uses the Minoan's Fury, but unable to lock it onto anybody. Milo having fun down on the boss side, picks up Nash, but Nash finds Milo. It's a 1-for-1. mlbbZane able to take the turtle though. BTK comes out on top in that trade. Yeah, now Jolie basic with the 1v1.
That was a pretty tough trade onto the objective there. 2 of the members were fallen for the side of LEGACi, traded for 1. The neutral objective does go to the hands of BTK. Just like what you're saying, the other side of the map, Harith is able to pick up that 1 versus 1. And right now, so far, BTK, I feel like they're just winning across the map. Top side, the Benedetta does quite well in the bot side. Basic is also winning. And now, even in the jungle, LEGACi is struggling.
And they do take that orange buff. mlbbZane uses a retry, steals it right out of Riles' fingertips. And now they're cutting lanes. They've taken the bottom tower. This means Basic can move around the map more.
Yeah, and with Basic moving around the map more, it just smells even more trouble, right? The Harith has already won onto the bot side, looking to, you know, switch the lanes quite a bit here. BTK, potential 4-man dive onto the top side. I don't know if Grok has it in him to be able to defend this, but definitely this minion should be able to go down.
And he doesn't have a wild charge either right now. Able to use the flicker, kind of sidestep away. They don't lose the tower just yet.
2k gold lead for the side of BTK here. 6 minutes in, the kill score is quite even. So LEGACi still in this game so far. They're still trying to defend a lot of these lanes, but the rotations coming out from BTK I think is quite hard for LEGACi to defend.
Riles does get the passive and is able to escape. That is a lot of damage. LG coming up to the top side now, looking for a possible pick. Cold World maybe caught up in a bad spot. PDR decides not to use the wild charge just yet, but look at Basic under the tower. Gonna get some nice damage on Akuya. Drops him on Force with the dash, looking for one more hit under the tower and gets it. Nicolette actually steals it, picks up the kill, puts Nicolette at 1-0-1. BloodThirstyKings with the advantage.
And, you know, even with the advantage, I want to talk about Milo on this Benedetta. Right, he's able to kind of deal with the split push coming out from any of the members of LEGACi, and he kind of just deal with it by himself. And I feel like the Grok and the XP is not going to be able to clear a lot of the waves, especially when we get onto the late game. And I think that's where BTK shines, right? They could do the banana split, but before.
A lot of damage. Nicolette goes down. PDR with the wild charge, and that's the threat. The damage from the damaged Grok is damaging.
Yeah, he's able to get the knock up there, and picking off Nicolette is a great pick off. But once again, who is going to be the man for LEGACi to deal with the split push of the Benedetta? Because I think he's just going to be on the far side of the lane the whole entire game. He has the sustain available and the mobility. It's going to be a hard matchup to deal with if you are the members of LEGACi.
Most definitely. I love the players. Look at Mobazane down there. Everyone else is just kind of like chilling. He's like forehead in the camera, fingers moving a mile a minute. I mean, you can tell the seriousness. You can tell the pressure, I think, that's just on BTK in general for this game. They know the loss yesterday was huge. They know they have to do something. But LG as well, keeping their cool right now. The game is not yet gone for them, I feel. The major problem is Basic. If he keeps scaling like this, it is going to be hard to find him. We saw it last time with Toru. The Harith with the Purify is a very hard catch.
It's most definitely hard to catch, but looking at the split push, you can see the Grok on the all far side of the lane, but the 4-man BTK siege on the top side.
Yeah, Koya gets hit by the Holy Baptism. Gonna get chased down though. BTK aren't coming for members though. They're coming for towers, and they're able to secure it.
And they're able to get pretty much the objectives that they were looking for. This is pretty much all of BTK's plan. They're not necessarily looking for team fights all the time, right? It's very objective focus. You can see the Ube strategy coming out from BTK already trying to pressure a lot of the sides of LEGACi.
Yeah, did they take another one from him? Riles unable to get any orange buffs here. Mobazane on his trail. Basic in the backside takes a lot of damage. Blazing Duet comes in. Jolie doing unloading. Riles finds Basics, and LG finally comes out on top in a team fight.
Yeah, and you can see PDR's damage is actually quite a lot, but the minnow does get picked off here, and BTK looking to siege onto this mid side. They should be able to get a lot of damage done.
Riles just escapes, but the tower may fall soon. Milo as well with the split push. You mentioned it earlier. Milo's not been involved in almost any of these team fights, but he is doing so much on the map.
It's so smart coming out from BTK to build a split pusher onto the XP lane, right? Force members of LEGACi to split up, because once again, I think the Grok and the Minnow are extremely good in team fights, but when it comes down to the split push of the LEGACi, they're definitely much lacking. They could send the Xborg onto the far lane to defend, but it's just not the viable situation. They need the Xborg onto the objectives to get the 50-50 Retrian. Look at the pressure of BTK. Members at top, members at bot, just splitting the whole entire strategy of LEGACi apart, getting this neutral objective without any problems.
Yeah, oh, Holy Baptism locks on. Terrified. Boom. Knocked out. Koyaken hit by the Hayaken. Koya Nash might just be next. Riles gonna take a lot of damage. BloodThirstyKings on the prowl. PDR comes in, gets a knock up on 3 members, but no one there to follow up. And down he goes. LEGACi getting picked off one by one by one.
It's a strong showing coming out from BTK. This is kind of what we expected for this team, and to have a dominating performance, I do think this is going to match well with the confidence that BTK is, you know, desperately looking for. They didn't get the win that they were looking for against A77, but this time around against LEGACi, it seems like they have the game plan, they have the strategies involved, and they're playing quite clean. Now, Lord marching down onto the top side, and BTK has sieged in a 5-man unit, especially with the Raft. It really shows like kind of like a Ube strategy back in the M3.
Oh, big flicker wild charge.
Oh.
Basic taking out Jolie with the blazing duet onto 2 members. Riles though gets brought in. Milo in trouble as well. Able to use the electro final blow just to get away. mlbbZane hold the front side. LEGACi find a kill and wait, the knock up the Eternal Guardian. Shreds them down, and Jolie and Koya Nash are taken out. Cold World putting one of those kills into his pocket, and the Lord is still coming. BTK looking for more. Terrify on Koya Ken. BTK gets so much out of that Lord push.
The unexpected damage of BTK is just so much for a LEGACi to deal with. They've lost all their towers, and BTK is not stopping here.
Riles gets the passive proc with the immortality, uses the last insanity to re-engage. Milo's not going to let him go. The GOAT finds him. Koya Ken and Koya Nash, the 2 big brothers of the team, are trying to defend this all alone. Jolie back onto the field with a blazing duet, trying to get a little bit of damage. Koya Ken looking for a mock-up as well. But they still hold in Nominowin's Fury. He's deleted before it procs. BTK relentless in their charge. They're going to move on to the base now, and that should be game number 1.
A great performance from the Kings of Kings BTK, able to take the very first game between LEGACi and them, putting them up on the board with score 15, 7, and 29 is the overall KDA of this team. And I just want to say Milo played that greatly. He did die in the end, but he was able to just bait out so many ultimates, get the mage kills that we were talking about, able to get onto the backside, getting onto Nana multiple times in this series, and also the split push that LEGACi had to deal with. It's not very good when you have the Grok on the other side of the map trying to clear the waves when the whole entire BTK is on the top side, pretty much just destroying the towers.
I mean, it became an issue. The way that BTK was just consistently, you said it a few times during objectives, they were very spread out around the map, and LEGACi had to make a decision. Do they go and defend the off lanes, right? Do they try to deal with Milo, or do they group up? And they chose the first option when I feel like their composition was very based around all of them working together and trying to disrupt mlbbZane from being able to get those retributions off, right? Trying to fight for these objectives, and BTK knew it. So it's like, fine, we'll take the split up match, and if you want to group up in 5-man against us, we're going to take away your off lanes, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and when you talk about the off lanes, right, the Harith was able to get the solo kill on the Claude extremely early on. It's a very bad sign, right? Because the Claude should be able to kind of deal with any matchup that he's looking for. That's why a lot of people can blind pick the Claude into anything. But the Harith is just proven to be such a strong hero onto the gold lane. It's quite tough to deal with. And when you look on the other side of the map, right, PDR just unable to handle Milo with the Grok up there, pushed him back at level 2, and then continuously just pressuring onto the top side and even the far lanes when the objectives are being shown. So BTK definitely have a very good strategy. The draft, I would say, is pretty much perfect there. Now I'm excited to see how LEGACi decides to bounce back, right? Get PDR a hero that potentially deals a little bit more damage onto the minions so he could deal with the split push coming out from Milo, and also potentially grabbing up the Harith themselves, because it seems like the Harith is almost guaranteed on the gold lane so far.
I mean, I feel like the big issue with, because all right, so LEGACi had a strong laning phase, right? They got the first blood. I think they got the first 2 kills. Imagine if they just would have kind of switched up the draft a little bit, like not go for the export, maybe go for something a bit more aggressive. Before we go too far, let's take a quick look at these replays, UA.
Yeah, the Grok Flicker Ultimate Wildfire is able to pick off basic pretty much just like that. And honestly, when you look at this team fight, the damage that LEGACi was doing was quite immense. Like, we did not know that was going to be doing so much damage, but this ultimate coming out from that Vexana was huge, rounding up 2-3 members along with the knockback of mlbbZane, setting it up perfectly for BTK to be victorious in that team fight, taking all the outer towers and taking the game with that fight.
Yeah, they were able to, I mean, BTK was able to take the punches. Even when LEGACi got those big knockups, got those big sets, BTK was already far too ahead. Now, back to kind of what I was saying is, you know, I think that if Riles had something, if they just had a little more damage, I mean, either way, BTK's invading them, right? Like, you picked the Xborg, either way, you were losing orange buffs, you were losing lots of things. I think that was a game, if you're going to pick that bulky of a front line, you know, maybe go for a bit more of a damaging jungle. Go for something that can really pack a punch. Otherwise, just play the utility, right? And slot something else into your EXP lane. I think there were still some moments of brilliance from LEGACi there, like I said, in the laning phase. And it seems that's where BTK is making most of their mistakes in the first 2 or 3 minutes. So I think if there's a win con for the side of LEGACi, you know, capitalize on that. Maybe build something that scales a little bit, something that you can snowball on, and look for those moments of weakness from BTK.
And if we're talking about the strategies coming out from LEGACi, this might be kind of a out of a box equation, but I feel like maybe they should experiment a little bit with the assassin pick, right? What LEGACi is known for, what Riles is known for, maybe picking up the Hayabusa, slotting it in the 5, right? Just slide it in the back, set it up, get the front lines available, get the early game advantage, put something like a Lilia Tigreal where they stand well into the lane, grab the Brody for a guarantee win on the gold where the LEGACi does not have to put a lot of members on that side, and picking up the Hayabusa and getting the mobility and the split push that the Riles has always been known for.
I mean, Hayabusa is like number 4 or 5, I feel like, on the assassin options right now. You know, they could go for the Nolan, that was completely open last time. They could go for, which even though it hasn't been performing very well here, it is still a very viable pick if used with the right team, with the right synergy. There was the Joy open last time. Fanny, they could go for something, they could still go for something aggressive. I think the Fanny isn't as viable right now with the state of the current like utility jungler meta, but yeah, there's definitely some possibilities for LEGACi here.
The bans are on the board. BTK bans out Faramis and the Xborg. The response from LEGACi, though, the Navaria gets taken off the board along with the Fredra. Now, LEGACi is quite interesting. They are opting to go for a 1 ban on mobazane and focusing and spreading the bans out throughout. And unfortunately, I feel like the strategy on the first game, even with the draft, it wasn't perfect for the side of LEGACi. I felt like maybe they could have took away a few more heroes of mobazane, or priority focus on other people. For example, taking away the mages for Nicolette, or even taking away the Herod of basic, because those players have impacted the game so significantly that I feel like mobazane, he could play almost anything. The Boxia could have worked, the Akai could have worked, but first picking that Barats is going to be a lot of trouble, and it seems like BTK has that strategy, set it up correctly to first pick that.
And they go for the Diggy ban this time, which has kind of been like, I feel like the Diggy ban has been the quote-unquote like cop-out ban sometimes for BTK and some other teams. Yeah, it's not a bad ban. Like, it's still a solid ban, because if it can be like the game changer. We don't see it picked all the time, but when it is picked, it can sometimes be something that kind of seals your fate. So I think I just wanted to take note of that we see it so randomly sometimes, but it's like you just said, it's the throwaway ban, right? That's still viable, but it's not if you want to try to leave some things open.
Yeah, but this time around, the bans are set on the table during the first phase. 3 of the mages have been taken out. So that kind of leaves that Lilia and Nana being available for both teams. They could opt to go for a little bit more non-meta heroes, but those are still 2 good options for them. I'm not going to be surprised if they pick up the Barats. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. mobazane picking this up once again. Dominating performance in game 1. We're expecting the same for the game 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's a keep riding till the wheels fall off, and I think it's not a bad vibe. I would like to see see some other things, but LEGACi is going to have to push them to that, right? As long as they're able to dominate with that, There's nothing that Legacy's going to be. There's nothing that BTK has to do. Legacy's the one who has to think of something, has to switch something up here. Now on their side, Ruby's open right now. CC's open. A couple options for them.
I think a Lilia could be a potential threat to the Barats. I also think a Kaja carry might be a good combination that Devious has been using up against the Kings of the Kings. And just like you're saying, the Ruby has done a lot of impact in our very first series. So being able to see the Ruby this time around to be flexed onto the XP and the Roam could be something. But no, they decided to go for it. And Matilda, the first time that we see the Matilda being open, and also Arlot has been slotted in for Legacy.
I didn't even notice that. The Matilda's huge. Paired up with the Arlot, it's a nice way to displace Barats in some of these fights. But here's the thing, Legacy had a decent comp for objective fighting before, but they have to be able to get there, right? Like they need to be able to like hold down in the pit with them, and if they can't do that, then BTK will just kind of escape again.
But one thing that I do not like about Legacy so far is this Matilda pretty much shows all their cards of Legacy. We don't have an Arlot Roam anymore. This is going to be an Arlot XP. So BTK can decide now, hey, put the Ruby there, or we put the Ruby in the Roam. Versus Legacy, they are stuck with the Matilda being onto the Roam position, the Arlot into the XP, and unfortunately I feel like that kind of closes off their comp. I would have liked it if they potentially just took the Matilda and gone with something else, or taken the Arlot by himself. But Riles now, the Martis has been banned out in the first game. This time around, he's able to pick it up before the second phase of bans.
Yeah, and I mean, there's your early game, right? There's something that maybe you can put some pressure down, but the Martis has kind of, you know, it's fallen back. It was at least pretty contested. It was like the number 2, number 3, maybe number 4. Now it feels like it's fallen out of the meta a little bit. It is still viable. There still are possibilities, but Legacy has to be willing to bring the aggression early on, and it needs to try to find that laning phase kill again and get it onto Riles, and then try to get another one onto Riles, and then just really take off from there.
I do think the Martis still has what it stands for, which is pretty much the immune CC from the first, right? He's able to dash in and out of a lot of different situations, get the decimation to last hit a couple heroes, and especially going up against the carry, I do think he can immune a little bit of damage here and there and kind of catch up with the small dashes that the carry has. But the second ban phase is coming through. BTK opted to ban out the Harith themselves. They feel like it's going to be a high damage onto the gold lane. Another ban BTK could show is the Brody. The Legacy, they decide to go for the Nana, and both teams are still looking for mages, and with 4 mages being banned on the board, Lilia, I think, is going to be a hot topic now.
Lilia, I mean, it's very possible Lilia could get banned here as well. Legacy does get the first pick coming back, so it might be BTK who wants to ban the Lilia, unless they have an answer for it. Because Legacy, it's like, yeah, Valentina. That's true too. Valentina is an answer, so BTK may just pick that up if Legacy decides to go for it. Unless they both just go all in. We ban the Valentina, even nope, there it is. Claude gonna get banned out from BTK, CC banned out from Legacy, and now, you know, I think you said it. I think this is a good time to either pick up the. I think the Lilia is a little better than the Valentina, maybe for Legacy.
I actually think the Brody might be a pretty good option, unless they want to pick up the Lilia first, right? Lilia still has weak matchups, and there's still a lot of mages that are still viable in the current meta. We did see some Xaviers pop in and there in the MPL, so I think Xavier could be an option, especially going up against the siege comp of BTK. But the Natan comes out. This is a hero that's been widely used in MPL, and this time around, it's definitely going to shred a lot of the backside of BTK, and added that Legacy has a lot of physical damage already.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of checks a lot of boxes for Legacy, right? Because Legacy, they have the early game possibility with the Martis. They have late game possibility now with this Natan. It's an insane scale, a straight shredder in the late game. And then they have things to kind of help them get through any mid-game struggles with the Arlot and the Matilda. They have movement, they have disengage, and whoa. Uranus?
Throwback?
Uranus, throwback? We're going full throwback right now.
This is tough for the side of LEGACi. Uranus, one of the answers to it is a lot of CC. To stun and lock him down and not let him kind of regen and, you know, go for a long team fight. But LEGACi only has the Matilda, and quite honestly, the Arlot is not going to be able to do too much in that matchup. So BTK actually drafting extremely strong here. The split push pressure from BTK is still there once again. Uranus and from the Benedetta before, I don't know if there's anything that LEGACi can do to deal with the split push coming out from BTK. Whoa.
We're getting spicy, boys.
That's MPL,
we're getting
right?
Spicy. That's yeah. That we just saw that. We've seen it in PH. We just had the first pick last night, I think, in ID.
Yep. I think they won.
Yeah,
with it.
Odette. They did win with it. It was nuts. It was bonkers. The damage coming out from it is crazy. But it's definitely something you have to be prepared for. What it can work, I don't know, man. It normally is great for like certain divey heroes. I don't know how it's going to fit here. Nicolette also is going to be able to steal the Swan Song if she wants. It's kind of a wild card for me here. I'm still not completely comfortable on like how it counters, how it deals with everybody. Like I get the idea of it, but it's interesting.
And it's not like BTK is lack in the CC. They have Cold World stopping with 2 CCs. mlbbZane also got 1, but Trex, take us in.
This is game number 2, BTK at match point against LEGACi. Can they get the sweep, or will LEGACi take us to game number 3?
Yeah, and the Kings of Kings again having a great performance on game 1, choosing to push the momentum onto game 2. mlbbZane, second time on the Brats in this series. I do think mlbbZane has done quite well on a lot of these utility style heroes, and this time around he's picking up the Brats, which he's done so well. Now the Swan Song coming in on the last pick, it's a little bit questionable for me because I felt like they have to find a way to deal with the Uranus, and I just don't know if the Odette is going to be the answer that LEGACi is looking for to win in this matchup.
I think there's a lot of possibilities, right? Taking a look at some of the emblems, nothing too crazy. We take a hold on a second, a little bit of action. They get the steal. I think mlbbZane might have been able to take that, and even though it's just a small camp, it's still a big deal in the laning phase. mlbbZane already about to hit level 4, going to be moving into the mid side. He's going to go for something. The Daytona's welcome, and there it is. Finds his mark and takes out Koyaken.
I do want to point out that Basic has opted to go for Brave Smite along with the Festival of Bloods on his second emblem, giving him a lot of utility and sustain. And a lot of the carries nowadays, they love to build this like CC build, right? They go for they go for the Corrosion Scythe for some slows on the auto attacks, and then they go with the Thunderbelt to get even more procs along. And damn, look at this matchup again. Milo the GOAT proving why he's got that nickname.
Milo the GOAT gonna come into the top side. A little bit damage on the Nicolette though. Nicolette uses a flicker, able to just escape out from the grasp of Riles. Turtle is up though, and BTK has several members ready to fight for it. Nicolette has taken the decimation, wondering if we're going to get to see that one. The Nom Nom comes in, pushes him against the wall. Nicolette going to look for the decimation, and there it is, popping off, looking for the next target. Another one goes down, no, tries to lock on to Riles, but unable to get the kill. But still, LEGACi is forced away, and the Turtle goes to mlbbZane.
Yeah, it's a clean fight coming out from BTK again as they take out Riles underneath the mid tower. It's going to be a 3-4-0 along with the objective, a 3K gold lead in 2 minutes. This is going to be quite tough for the members of LEGACi, and even topside PDR is struggling to deal with the aggressiveness of that sheep.
Definitely a problem. Now, so what are we at? We're at 4-0 of that sheep. He's a goat, man. He's not a sheep. There's a difference.
My bad.
mlbbZane, though, taking a little bit of damage. PDR with trying to get the outplay, not able to do it. mlbbZane picks up that kill, 2-0 on the big dino.
Yeah, this smells a lot of trouble for LEGACi. They really have to be able to stand even against these contenders of the teams. And quite honestly, they're struggling a little bit in the early game. I do think that their comp-wise, they could clear up a little bit more. Try to maybe fit into the strategy of BTK where they always have a split pusher on the XP side, right? Bring that split pusher in and maybe find a little bit of a meta comp on the mid.
Ooh, I'm offended on Akoya Nash. Out comes the Swan Song. Nicolette able to get away, though. Nothing too major on the mid side.
Yeah, and take a look at Nicolette's emblem. She got the Quantum Charge coming in, and I do know there's been a hype of the Quantum Charge to be used on everyone, but on the Valentina, that's actually quite interesting, but I think it fits well with her style, right? Gives her a little bit of mobility, a little bit more auto attack, burst early on, along with a little bit of regen. So I think it actually works quite well. A lot of the mages might be opting for that, but 4K gold lead, 4 minutes in, a clean sweep for BTK so far. They got a lot of units on top side, Trex.
Amielo is going to become a huge problem here very soon. Already kind of is a problem. Now mlbbZane once again going to take another orange buff. This is the second game in a row. Riles is just unable to clear his own jungle.
Yeah, good flicker coming out from Kuya Ken. If he did get hit by the Barats, I think that does smell a lot of death for the side of LEGACi. And now they have to choose and try to find a way to defend, but look at Milo here being so annoying.
Ooh, Swan. Oh, a lot of damage for the Swan Song. So there it is. That's one of the things that I have not seen yet. Oh, wait a second. A lot of damage on a Cold World. They come in, but they're locked up. Riles able to find the kill, though. But now he's in a tight spot. Taking damage from mlbbZane. PDR able to get the final slash on Amielo. They're on the chase. Riles will not escape with his life, and neither will PDR.
Yeah, it's going to be an 8-1 overall scoreboard. The lead is still for BTK. 1K gold per minute. And whoa, Basic looking for a flicker onto this Natan.
Well, Joe Lee having a rough time. Game number 2 as well. First Basic gets the 1v1 with the Harith, and now it's with the carry.
Yeah, but the tower does fall onto the bot side, so a little bit of hope rising for the side of LEGACi. Let's take a look at this replay, though. The Swan Song does come through, but the Circling Eagle is what I want to talk about.
Comes in,
I don't talk
but
about
it kind of
anything.
comes into a death sentence there. A little bit of trouble overall. The ideal was good, but you have to constantly be careful for Cold World. Right before he died, he gets the lockup.
Yeah, and of course, the execution was just not there for the side of LEGACi. The gold lead is still widening at this 6-minute mark, and the members of BTK spread it across the map, but winning across the map also. And I just want to say, Basic, man, he's been winning in this gold lane by himself, and once again, he is doing so well. Zane
gets a Daytona's welcome on Akoya Nash. Swan Song comes out, but not quick enough before deletion. Kuya Ken now also looking for something. mlbbZane a little bit of trouble. PDR with the Vengeance. The Vengeance trying to get away. BTK does not lose a member just yet, but they find Riles and Nash, and now they're going to come for that purple buff.
Yeah, it's a tough scene to watch. 8K gold lead already at 6 minutes. This is not something that we do want to see for any of the teams in NACT, but the dominant performance of BTK, they're really showing that they have switched up their strategy from their 2 losses yesterday against A77. I think this is a good statement for all the BTK fans out there.
Verify. I mean, at this point, BTK are doing the same thing they did last game. They're just choking out LEGACi. Just clasping around them and slowly they're just strangling them out from their gold, from their jungle, from objectives, just pushing in more and more until there's nowhere left for LEGACi to move.
Yeah, and it's honestly due to the fact that BTK has so much in their winning lanes, right? The carry winning out on the bot side by himself. Milo also doing so well, and you could even see mlbbZane here dominating in the jungle performance by himself.
God, the 1v1 then turns into a 1v2. mlbbZane still comes out on top. The gold lead is escaping them. BTK at 10K.
Yeah, the 10K is just very, very hard to deal with, and we haven't really seen a 10K gold lead 7 minutes in. Just shows you the difference between these two teams. BTK definitely in style, definitely not rusty at all. They are looking to perform and looking to go ahead deep in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like LEGACi win for the Fredrin band. I almost feel like maybe Barats was the bigger problem. PDR going to get pushed back and taken out. Decimation from Nicolette. Nice, I'm offended. Locks on to Ken. Ken taken out next. Nicolette picking up another one.
Oh!
Swansong comes in with the flicker though, but it doesn't matter. mlbbZane and Basic take him out so fast. There's no time for the ult to stand.
Yeah, but the GOAT has fallen here. It's a 3-for-1 trade for the GOAT. BTK still on top. We're looking at about 11k gold lead, 8 minutes in. It smells a lot of trouble for the side of LEGACi. But for the side of LEGACi, they still have the potential to come back in this game, right? We saw the Swansong making a significant impact in almost every single team fight. And paired with the Natan, which has quite a bit of gold, he's built up the Feather and also the Corrosions, the Calamity. So he's definitely there in play. But BTK still has a substantial gold lead. It's very, very hard to deal with the team fight there. Maybe potentially try to pick off 1 or 2 members, but if it's gonna be Mile in the front, dude, there's no way that GOAT is gonna die here.
4,000 gold lead between mlbbZane and Riles right now. 5 levels ahead. mlbbZane is the big dino on the block right now. At this point, BTK is going to do the same thing they did last game. Just keep on coming in a bit more. Go for this next Lord. They let the bottom lane push back a little bit. Makes it a little bit harder for LEGACi to try to come in from that angle. I mean, BTK feels good right now, and it doesn't feel like there's much of an answer for LEGACi.
Yeah, and Zane, 7-0-5. Once again, a perfect game for him on this Barats. It's very hard to shut Zane down when he gets the heroes that he wants, and Barats has definitely been a high priority of BTK. First picked both of those matches, definitely telling a story that they're not scared to just let Zane pick the best blind pick hero and have the whole entire team kind of build off of it. And look at the supporting cast. Nicolette 3-0-7 also doing quite well. The members are all onto the top side. Is BTK gonna clash with the advantage that they have?
Tono's welcome. Not able to land onto anybody, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the team is here to help out. Ken taking a lot of damage. Swansong comes in though, able to unload onto several members. Nicolette goes down. Koya Nash with the shutdown and the double. Will it be enough though? Because BTK is still riding forward as Nash falls. It's 3 for 2 just when LEGACi had a shot. They lose it.
Yeah, I thought for a second the Swansong was going to deal a lot more damage, but the members of BTK having a lot of sustain. And look at the 3 members that are alive. Those are 3 tanky boys, and I just don't know if there's any response coming out from LG to be able to deal with the tankiness coming out, because look at them. They're just tanking the towers at mid lane and taking whatever they want.
They're just under tower, taking all the shots to the face. It's going to be a while until Jolie really outputs the damage they need. And Koya Ken going to get stomped on, walked on. Milo looking for the kill, unable to get it though. BTK, literally, it's their 3 bulky members just standing in the mid lane. Lord coming soon.
Yeah, they don't have a response for the tankiness of BTK. Fight.
Ooh, Ken pulled in and Basic shreds him down with a speedy light wheel. Riles gonna be next to fall, a double kill for Basic. They're gonna move back in. Milo able to pick up Nash, and now they're on to the base. They've got 1 wave, but it should be all they need. Nicolette doesn't care about the base. She's going for kills, going for KDA, and BTK takes game number 2.
Another strong showing, Trex, for BTK here, taking game 2 of our second series, a 2-0 clean sweep. The overall score is 23-5, and I think they took care of business quite in a fashion there. 23-5-47 is going to be the overall KDA of the BloodThirstyKings, and of course this match is going to be led by Zane with a perfect score. We don't have the scores on the board, but honestly, BTK drafted well, prioritized Zane on the heroes that he wants, and the whole entire team came together, played a perfect game against LEGACi, and I want to see them push this momentum onto their next match.
Most definitely. I mean, just a very clean two games from BTK, just showing dominance over LEGACi. They had a rough day yesterday, but today they came in very well polished. I feel like every member on the team executed their job to perfection.
And definitely they need to be executing their job into perfection, because unfortunately they did lose out on day one, but this time around they're able to come back, pushing LEGACi on to the bottom side of the bracket. And if you take a look at the team statistics, it definitely shows a one-sided match for the side of LEGACi. They're just unable to find any kills and bounce back, versus BTK winning at all lanes. We saw Milo dominating in the XP position against PDR like it was no other. And we also saw Basic able to grab up a few solo kills from both of the games going up against Jolie. So honestly, BTK winning out on all the lanes. I think LEGACi has some homework to do to be able to stand against the Kings of the Kings League.
I'll tell you what, man. BTK, they showed up, they showed out, dude. Exactly what they needed to be doing. Again, you guys said it well. They played a little bit rough yesterday, but sure enough, they came in looking sharp today, and dangerous they were.
Very dangerous indeed. I think overall, just, you mentioned it, UA, they lost out on day one, but they came in very clean, able to get a 2-0 sweep, which is something BTK needs if they want to try to hold a high standing by the end of season.
And you know, this might project a fluke on the day one. It could be the synergy difference. And of course, we've seen a lot of teams kind of bounce around, especially early on in the season. We would think, hey man, the standings of the first week, that means something, but honestly, it doesn't. These teams, everyone can kind of beat each other, and sometimes it just takes a few losses to be able to bounce back. And I think BTK definitely is one of those teams that have the ability to bounce back after any losses.
I agree 100%. BTK has been known to, I don't want to say play the field, but, you know, they've taken their losses, but they've definitely taken their wins, and they've managed to do a fantastic job in seasons to pass to effectively make their way to, you know, a lot of the times the grand finals. So with that being said, you know, could this be something that we're seeing? Are they just working themselves up? Maybe they didn't take the first day super seriously. Maybe it was a fluke, but it does go without saying that they did lose it. So they are going to have to put in a little bit more work for them to find themselves in that good standing. So today's wins, 2-0, absolutely fantastic for them.
You know, I do have to say this. I don't want to take anything away from Area 77, because if there's one thing I know about BTK, if there's one thing I know about Mr. Mike Koskin, mlbbnorthamerica himself, he doesn't like losing. I think it's the same thing with Basic, same thing with a lot of those players, and I think they were definitely giving it their all yesterday. And Area 77 got that win, you know, just out of pure grit. I think today BTK was a better team. They came in stronger. And I think LEGACi definitely had some rough moments from draft to gameplay. And speaking of LEGACi, this is a hard punch, right? All day we've been stressing about the importance of at least getting one game in these best of threes, at least putting a point on the board. And now they've lost 2 games and they're sitting still at 0 points.
But I do think LEGACi has a few moments that they do shine well. The Grok coming out to play wasn't a strong showing in the XP lane, but sometimes the rotations coming out from PDR, the impact that he has was actually quite a strong showing. Like, I think there's definitely a lot of hope for LEGACi to kind of build around and adjust. And especially since it's early on in the season, they have a lot of adjustments to do. And once again, you're facing against the Kings of the Kings. These guys have won quite a bit, and with the leadership of mlbbZane, it's going to be a tough matchup, but I don't want to count LEGACi out just yet. I feel like the season is quite long, and I think they have a lot of work to prepare for, but I don't think it's completely impossible for them to turn this new leaf and get the lead back into their favor.
I think that was very well said. And, you know, I think the big thing that, again, we do have to take into account is LEGACi is a little bit newer. But with that being said, I think that their potential for growth, immediate growth, is a lot higher than some of these other teams that they've been going up against, because again, they are more experienced. Does that mean that they have a larger skill gap between them? No, but when you're talking about when this team gets that synergy going and gets that practice that really helps open up things for them, they're going to continue on a week-to-week basis to become more lethal. So every match that they go into, we can expect to see a stronger LEGACi. You know, we saw PDR trying to set up for some really good plays. You know, we just have to find that team there.
Yeah, I think all of them, it's the common mistakes that you see sometimes from certain teams. It's, you know, you go in one at a time, you look for those big plays, and then the rest of your team isn't there to quite follow up. On the Grok PDR, there's a few times he got 3-man wild charges, but it was a little too late, you know, a little bit not at the right time. So LEGACi, I think they have some opportunity, but maybe don't get a little too crazy, kind of tighten things up, and definitely some possibilities for them. I mean, it is a slightly shorter season, so like time is of the essence, right? It's not a double round robin like a lot of MPLs. It's a single round robin. You only got 7 games, you know, 7 series. You're not going to get to play every single team again. So once you lose to a team, you lose your shot at getting getbacks until you see them in playoffs. So it still is important for LEGACi. They're going to have to learn quick, right? They're going to have to evolve fast if they want to compete in NACT.
And BTK is a extremely strong team. We can see the showings of the lanes. Milo pretty much just dominating in that split push area. It's not even like the XP lane itself. It's how he's putting himself in the role of BTK for them to win, right? He's split pushing constantly. The Benedetta, the Uranus, both are extremely strong at that perspective. And, you know, making sure that he is winning in the XP lane. And Basic also did not let loose of the gas pedal. He was just dominating in that gold lane, losing the tower, but gaining kills left and right by himself. And that is extremely hard to deal with, especially when you're talking about the best of the best players in this NACT. They've dominated in their lanes and against majority of the players out there. But unfortunately, LEGACi did fall short to the Kings. And I feel like, man, this time around, the Kings definitely is burning a lot of fuel to get themselves back into a good standing.
Again, I agree. BTK, they showed up today, they showed out. But without further ado, let's get into this MVP spot. Trex, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, I think something important too that we kind of missed out last time is this is going to be MVP of overall series, the MVP that we show at the end. Last time I was a little confused. I thought it was just of the game, but every time we show the MVP at the end of the series, it's who did the best overall, and mlbbZane definitely had a very strong performance in the last game. We can see some of these highlights, Yue.
Yeah, the highlights coming through. Zane, of course, being the dinosaur himself, just dominating everywhere. It doesn't really show the full entire game here, but mlbbZane definitely picking up a lot of kills. And take a look at that the CC coming through. He's able to get that solo pick off of the Daytona's welcoming and further pushing their team into that lead. And the Zane second skill on this Barat is so good. He's able to display so many different members and zoning out in plenty of different opportunities. Completely well-deserved. 7, 0, and 9 is his KDA, and honestly, he's done so well in the last few games.
I think even in the very beginning, getting that early, remember he got the early level 4 by stealing the camp.
So
immediately
fast.
Goes to mid lane. I mean, yeah, quick level 4. Immediately moves to mid lane and gets that Daytona's welcome, and it was just vicious.